Epstein Island isn't the only sex island out there, and Tim Ballard takes down one of the...
Two of the biggest names in Hollywood just went on record about what's happening to children on private islands. And they didn't stop at Epstein.
You know, when we were down in Cartagena, the guys would come up, traffickers, and they would, right in front of us ask us if we wanted niñas or niños and little boys or little girls.
That wasn't a movie scene. That was real life, on a film set, in front of cameras.
So in the end, he obviously did so, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
But here's what nobody's connecting. Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel didn't just make a movie about trafficking. They allegedly leaked what one of Hollywood's most powerful figures was doing on one of those islands. And her name is all over the Epstein files. Sound of Freedom. You've heard about it. A $14.5 million film that Disney buried for 5 years after buying Fox. When it finally released in July 2023, it made $251 million globally and beat Indiana Jones on opening day. The executive producer, Mel Gibson. The star, Jim Caviezel, the man who played Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ. And both of them have been saying the same thing for years. Hollywood protects predators. But it wasn't until December 2024, at a gala honoring anti-child exploitation work, that Mel Gibson made it personal. He stood in front of a room at Mar-a-Lago and said if anyone ever trafficked one of his 9 children, he would personally kill whoever was responsible. He called the people behind it wolves in sheep's clothing that prey upon our young. That's not a metaphor. That's a threat, and it's on the record.
There was a lot of opposition to it, and I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're gonna get people going.
Gibson's been saying this since 1998. He's described Hollywood as a town where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them and they tell you don't go into the house on the hill. Jim Caviezel went even further. He said Hollywood had arrived at a very, very dark place where no one just hands an actor a project without strings attached. And then he said something that should have been headline news everywhere.
I can say one thing. I showed it in Vegas, and there was 5 screenings, about 1,500 people that saw it. During the 5 screenings, each screening, there was a talking going on. And I was like watching the audience going, what? The second time it happened, again, third time, talking in this one particular spot. And I'm thinking, what, did we do something wrong or something? But so then one more time it happened. At the end, I was asking about the movie, and I asked them about that one particular part where everybody's talking, and they all cried out Epstein Island. And I went, oh, okay. Now I understand what we're up against.
Epstein Island. The audience said it, not him, but he confirmed it. And then he said this.
Epstein Island isn't the only sex island out there, and Tim Ballard takes down one of the...
Let that sit. There are more islands, more locations, more people involved. And according to what's now emerging, one of those people was someone you watched on daytime television for 19 years. Ellen DeGeneres built her entire career on 2 words: be kind. In August 2023, right after Sound of Freedom crossed $100 million at the box office, her Instagram was flooded. Every single post, cooking videos, jokes about fruit, lighthearted clips, thousands of comments saying the same thing. Sound of Freedom. Fans were asking her directly, why aren't you talking about this? Why are you silent on a film about child trafficking? She never responded. Not once. At the time, people thought it was just internet noise, but 4 months later, in January 2024, the Epstein files dropped, and Ellen's name was in them. Here's what the documents actually say. A Hollywood publicist named Peggy Siegel forwarded an email to Epstein referencing seeing DeGeneres dancing at a party on the island of St. Bart's. Her name also appears in an Apple News newsletter about allegations on her show that was sent to Epstein, and in a redacted email quoting a college graduation speech she gave. Fact-checkers at Snopes, PolitiFact, and Reuters all confirmed her name appears in the files. What people online are claiming those files prove, that's a separate thing. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Ellen's name doesn't just appear once or twice. According to investigative journalists cross-referencing the index, she's mentioned over 1,100 times across emails, forwarded communications, and third-party records.
You know that Ellen DeGeneres' stage set is exactly the same as on Epstein Island. with all the couches, the same colour, the same soft furnishings, palm trees, window, everything to the T. And I'm like,
Really?
Side by side, the resemblance is undeniable. Same stripes, same layout, same aesthetic. You can call it coincidence, but when you add it to everything else, it starts to look like something else entirely. Let's go back to 2009. Diddy appeared on Ellen's show. She asked him about his birthday parties. His response, caught on camera, has now been viewed millions of times. He didn't elaborate. She didn't push. The audience laughed. But Diddy was arrested in September 2024 on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. His conviction came in 2025. 4 days before his arrest, Ellen posted on Twitter wishing him a happy birthday. She used a nickname, one she said her followers had no need to understand the origin of. That tweet sat online, completely unremarkable, for 8 years. After Diddy's conviction, it became one of the most discussed screenshots on the internet. Now, here's where Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel come in. Because what they're allegedly leaking isn't just about Epstein. It's about what was happening on those islands and who was involved. Victim statements released by the Department of Justice prove Epstein wasn't working alone. He had co-conspirators, enablers, people who brought him talent, people who cleaned up his image, people who participated. Court documents from Ghislaine Maxwell's case, filed just days before Ellen announced she was shutting down her show, revealed that Epstein allegedly made deals with 25 different celebrities. Their job? Connect him to young talent, make him look legitimate, keep him protected. Ellen shut down her show in May 2022. The timing raised eyebrows, but it was what happened after that made people start asking harder questions. A voicemail was discovered, left on Jeffrey Epstein's office line. It references a victim trying to expose his connection to someone in Hollywood.
I have a victim for you about Jeffrey. Her name is she's been there within about a year, less than a year. So you can call her on set an appointment to meet up with her. She doesn't want you at the house, but she said that you can call her. Okay, bye.
Investigators who cross-referenced the time of the call with Epstein's emails believe this person was Anne Heche, Ellen's ex-girlfriend. Anne Heche and Ellen dated publicly from 1997 to 2000. When they broke up, Heche said Ellen effectively banned her from Hollywood. She described it as being canceled before the word even meant what it means today.
You know, like red flag, red flag, red flag.
In June 2021, on her podcast Better Together, Heche said she could finally breathe again with Ellen out of the public eye. She said people were coming to her with stories about ways Ellen had blocked her career that we had no idea. 13 months later, Anne Heche died. Her car crashed into a home in Los Angeles and caught fire. The LA County medical examiner ruled it accidental, but footage that spread online told a different story.
Like she was being carried out on the stretcher, her to the ambulance. And look, like I know I'm not the only one who remembers this. And then basically she was trying to like get out of the body bag on the stretcher after the crash. And then later on she was pronounced unalive. Like, what was that? What was that?
The coroner's report said she was unconscious from smoke inhalation, brain dead from the fumes. But in the aerial footage, she sits straight up. That takes conscious effort. 4 months after Anne Heche died, Stephen Twitch Boss, Ellen's co-host and executive producer of 8 years, was found dead in a Los Angeles hotel room. Cause of death, suicide. No drugs, no alcohol. A note was found.
TMZ is reporting when Twitch left his home the day before he took an Uber to a motel about a mile away.
Sources close to Twitch told Page 6 he had a hard time during Ellen's toxic workplace scandal. He was caught between the institution he worked for and the allegations being made against it. His wife later wrote that she noticed a shift in him after the show ended. Losing the daily structure of a 9-year run hit him harder than anyone knew. 2 people, both with direct personal connections to Ellen DeGeneres, both dead within months of each other. Both deaths officially ruled, both surrounded by questions that never stopped. Now, let's talk about what was allegedly happening on those islands. because this is where the Epstein files get disturbing. Emails released by the DOJ show Epstein and his associates were using code words. Food items, beef jerky, pizza, ice cream, sushi, white tuna. The context doesn't make sense if you're talking about actual food.
They're not talking about real jerky here. We know that. It's code for something.
Right.
And when you go through some of the other emails that talk about how to refrigerate it, where to store it, how many pounds it is and things like that, your brain goes to some of that Peter Nygard.
Peter Nygard, the billionaire fashion mogul who allegedly impregnated young women in the Bahamas, had them abort at 8 months and harvested the stem cells from the fetuses to inject into himself.
But his deal was that he would allegedly impregnate young women in the Bahamas, where he had a huge home, and then have them get aborted and harvest their stem cells of the fetuses to inject in himself as the fountain of youth.
According to investigative reports, Epstein was doing the same thing. He paid a researcher at Massachusetts General Hospital for tests that could be used to help create stem cells. Investigators found a $2,000 invoice from 2014 for sequencing part of Epstein's genome. He was enrolled in Harvard's Personal Genome Project. Alex Jones explained how it allegedly worked.
You're not going to get organ rejection. That's what Epstein was actually, one of his main businesses, along with Peter Nygard. Oh yeah, it's much worse than just, 14-year-old, 15-year-old girls. They want you to just stay in that area and never get down the rabbit hole. That's the entrance to the rabbit hole, is 14, 15-year-old girls. No, down in the rabbit hole. Down in the rabbit hole is women getting pregnant with the man's own, so it doesn't get genetically rejected. Central African women, because they have dominant genes and the stem cells are about 100 times better, just a fact, for health effects. And then the woman has an abortion at 8 months. They suck the baby dry of its bone marrow, its blood, and in multiple transfusions, put it into the rich old men and rich old women.
Now, here's where Ellen comes back in. Who was the one person using her platform to normalize using stem cells from humans to stay young? Ellen, on her own show with Sandra Bullock on camera. They laughed about it, joked about it, called it a facial, but the language was exact. Extraction from a young person to stay young. Victim diaries recovered from Epstein's properties describe exactly what that process looked like from the other side. These aren't conspiracy theories. These are court documents released by the Department of Justice. Read into the congressional record. One victim testified publicly. She was 14 when she met Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell at a camp funded by celebrities.
Repeatedly. I was 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being over and over and over again.
There are even claims that bodies are buried on Epstein's Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. A memorial now sits on the property's outskirts, paying tribute to the victims and survivors.
I can't imagine what they had to endure. I wanted everybody to know that New Mexico was strong, and that we would represent these victims, living victims, survivors.
So where does Ellen fit into all of this? What exactly are Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel alleging she did? According to investigative journalist Sean from The People's Voice, one of the biggest independent researchers tracking the Epstein files, Ellen's involvement goes far beyond appearing in emails. His investigation claims Ellen was directly involved in Anne Heche's death, that after the suspicious car crash, Ellen used her connections to claim Anne's body, locked it in a mansion freezer, and consumed her former lover in what he describes as slow, deliberate, occult ceremonies over the years. That's the claim. Extreme? Absolutely. But let's look at the pattern. Ellen's stage set matched Epstein's island temple. She joked on air about using human stem cells. Her ex-girlfriend warned people about her publicly, then died in a suspicious crash. Her co-host of 8 years died months later. Her name appears over 1,100 times in the Epstein files. She was publicly friendly with Diddy, now convicted of sex trafficking. And 3 months after the DOJ announced they were releasing Epstein's full client list, Ellen fled the country.
Chris and her wife, Portia de Rossi, have reportedly fled the US, bound for the UK, after Donald Trump's landslide victory. Numerous publications are reporting the couple have left the United States erased permanently.
She said it was because of Trump, but the internet had a different read. She left right as the files were about to drop, right as the public was starting to connect the dots. And then there's the symbolism. Ellen has been photographed wearing crowns and skeleton imagery from Jean-Michel Basquiat's art, the same symbols Jay-Z wears. The same symbols investigators claim match disturbing files found on Epstein's laptop, allegedly linking high-profile figures to ritualistic abuse. In Ellen's home, visible in the background of her own Instagram posts, there are paintings with phrases like "evil thoughts with revenge" written next to them. There are symbols that look identical to the ones Marina Abramovich uses in spirit cooking rituals. The same Marina Abramovich who taught Lady Gaga. The same Lady Gaga who appeared in all red at high-profile occult-themed events. It's all connected. And the people saying it out loud are no longer anonymous accounts. They're Mel Gibson, Jim Caviezel, Ricky Gervais.
Season 2 is on the way, so in the end, he obviously did out, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
When Ricky said that in 2020, the room went silent. Nobody laughed the way you laugh at a joke that doesn't apply to you. They knew. And 4 years later, when the Epstein files dropped, that clip exploded. Over 6 million views in days. Mel Gibson has been saying Hollywood is a dark place since 1998. Jim Caviezel has been saying Epstein's Island wasn't the only one since 2023. And now, according to multiple sources, both of them have allegedly leaked specific information about what Ellen DeGeneres was doing on one of those islands. The leak hasn't been officially confirmed by Gibson or Caviezel in a press release. But their public statements, the timing of their comments, and the way investigative journalists are now connecting their words to the Epstein files all point to the same thing. They know something. And they're not staying quiet anymore. Let's zoom out. Sound of Freedom was finished in 2018. It had a distribution deal with 20th Century Fox. Then Disney bought Fox in 2019, and the film disappeared. Not delayed, not shelved with a reason. Just gone. The filmmakers fought for over a year to get it released. Angel Studios finally acquired the rights in March 2023. When it dropped on July 4th, 2023, it made $14.2 million opening day and went on to gross $251 million globally. A film about child trafficking that Hollywood tried to bury for 5 years became one of the most commercially successful independent films in history. The executive producer from day one, Mel Gibson. The critical response was immediate. Outlets called it a QAnon movie, right-wing propaganda, dangerous conspiracy theory. The same outlets that had spent years writing positively about Tim Ballard's real-life anti-trafficking work were now calling the film based on that work radioactive.
Shining a light on something they don't want shined on. And, this has been around for a long, long time. Biblically, it's been around what they did to children during the time of Moses and again during the time of Jesus, and what we've been doing now.
The film's director said publicly he didn't think Disney buried it intentionally. He said it got lost in translation during the merger. That's a generous read of a company that held on to a child trafficking film for half a decade. In July 2020, BuzzFeed published an investigation where 36 former employees of the Ellen DeGeneres show described working conditions they called racist, fear-driven, and intimidating. A second investigation followed. 3 executive producers were accused of sexual misconduct. All 3 were fired. Ellen apologized.
I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected.
The show ran 2 more seasons and ended in May 2022. By the end of that same year, Anne Heche and Twitch were both dead. In 2024, Ellen bought an $18 million farmhouse in England and moved to the UK. She said it was because of Trump. The files dropped 4 months earlier. Ghislaine Maxwell, currently serving 20 years in prison, filed a court document claiming 25 men, friends and associates of Epstein, have been protected under secret settlements. She said this information was never revealed during her trial.
A newly filed court document. Ghislaine Maxwell, the former associate of Jeffrey Epstein, she was convicted of trafficking, sentenced to 20 years in prison. She claims that 25 men, maybe friends, associates of the deceased financier, have been protected under secret settlements, secret deals, and that this information was not revealed to her during her trial.
I can say one thing. I showed it in Vegas, and there was 5 screenings, about 1,500 people that saw it. During the 5 screenings, each screening, there was a talking going on. And I was like watching the audience going, what? The second time it happened. Again, third time, talking in this one particular spot. And I'm thinking, what, did we do something wrong or something? But so then one more time it happened. At the end, I was asking about the movie, and I asked them about that one particular part where everybody's talking, and they all cried out Epstein Island. And I went, oh, okay. Now I understand what we're up against.